Hey, my name's Connor. I'm 22 and I have glioblastoma. Now you're probably wondering, what the heck is glioblastoma? Well, it's grade 4 brain cancer, which, I found out, I freaked out. But it's found mainly in older people in their 50s through 70s, which is really surprising considering I'm 22, and the survival rate is pretty not too high. It's getting better though, but part of the reason why it's so low is because a lot of older people get it versus rare in young people such as me. But I've known this and discovered the brain tumor like 2 months ago and so yeah, it's been 2 months. I don't know if you can see it, but I have my scar like right here on my right side, but it's on my right side of my brain. And so after doing some thinking and praying, I decided that I would document and journal my journey as I'm going through this cancer and fighting it, and hopefully I'll be able to inspire others or raise awareness for brain cancer or glioblastoma. But I prayed and thought of this, and I thought that this would be a great thing to do. And so I'm going to start doing a vlog of my journey through battling this brain cancer, and I'll be posting frequently. And so if you want to watch, you can watch. Hopefully I'll inspire some people. And so I'm going to take you to the beginning, since I didn't start this at the very beginning of when it got found out, because my life is pretty hectic and pretty traumatizing, finding out you have cancer and everything. So, but eventually I decided, 2 months later, that this would be a good thing to do. But anyway, it started honestly during 2 months ago. What caused it was I was experiencing major headaches, and then I was getting numb in my left hand and my left foot. And at first I kind of ignored it, thinking that would go away, but then it kept happening for like a week or 2 weeks. And to that point, at first I told him, was like, I'm not gonna tell my mom, I'm just gonna, or anyone in my family, I'm just gonna wait it out. But it kept happening, and I went to the doctor, and he originally thought it was a pinched nerve, because I'd been lifting, and so I thought that maybe it was that. And so he put me on these steroids to help with that, but it didn't help. And I went to see him again, and it just kept not changing, or maybe getting worse. And so we scheduled then later to have an MRI done on my back, because that's where the nerve they thought was pinched was at. But I came home for spring break, and I felt I had huge headaches, like they were unbearable. Like it felt like something was like bulging into my head, which was really my brain. I didn't know at the time, but it was terrible, and I couldn't take it anymore. And one day I started I had a massive headache. I started getting chills. I started really puking. My mom took me to the ER, nearest one near me, and they did an MRI on me, because I actually had an MRI scheduled a week from then. But at that moment they did an MRI, and at that moment, that was when they found out I had a brain tumor. I didn't know it was glioblastoma at the time. It was cancerous. I was praying it wasn't, or whatnot. But they said you had a mass, and I'm like, a mass? Because I was thinking it was just a pinched nerve, and I was like, it was like, this is a lot serious. And I'll never forget, like, it took a while to process in my mind, like, how big this was. And I was scared, and I was like, am I gonna live? Am I gonna... And then they mentioned the possibility of cancer, and I'm like, whoa. And that's when I really started wondering, am I gonna live? And they transported me to the UNC hospital, because at the time my dad was in the hospital with a intestinal blockage. And so this was a really stressful time for my family, and it was crazy. And so they took me to UNC Hospital. Then at UNC Hospital, they did a couple more MRIs and explained to me like what all they're gonna do with, you know, performing surgery and everything, which, you know, that freaked the heck out of me. I mean, I know they had to do it to get it out, which I was glad they were able to do it. But it scared me still, because, like, you know, I was scared of someone going inside my head, and, you know, it's just, I mean, I was asleep for it, but still, it was, wow. But yeah, I remember when I woke up after the surgery, at the time March Madness was going on, and I was pulling for my team, Carolina, but, and I remember waking up and I was watching the first round. They had it on the TV in the surgery room. They had the first game the UNC played. I think it was against Florida Gulf Coast, and we were like we were down at halftime or something, or we weren't up by much, and it was like I was like, oh God, I missed this. But I mean, you know, it just kind of gave me a fright. But yeah, and then. But after the surgery, I had like major headaches. They were probably as bad, if not maybe worse, than the ones I was having before I went to the hospital over break. So I really hated being in the hospital, though. It was really depressing. But I would never, like, what really helped me a lot in being in the hospital was the fact that it was March Madness, and there's so many basketball games on at different times, like throughout the whole day, even at like nighttime. And so that really helped me, you know, not focus so much on, you know, my surgery and recovering. But, you know, I just watched that, or else I would have had nothing to do. But and then I had a few people visit me in the hospital, which was awesome. You know, I love seeing people in the hospital when you're just lying in bed all day. And then I saw my dad, who was in a different wing from me, but he was allowed to come see me, and we hung out sometimes. And so it was really a kind of family moment. You know, it sucked, but, you know, our family was kind of brought together at that moment, you know, and I realized that this experience was going to bring our family together and make us closer than maybe we ever were. Well, finally, I got home from the hospital, which I was really thrilled about, because I had enough there. And, you know, I came home and, you know, I just sat on the couch and watched basketball, and, you know, just took it easy as I recovered from my surgery. And at the time, I was really freaked out about school because I was missing class. I wouldn't be able to go to class and not. But my professors were really accommodating, and eventually I got to where I did all my makeup work and was able to do a lot of the work for my classes. So that was definitely really good. And during that time that I was recovering at home, I really started to realize, like, just how precious life is, and I just gained a whole new appreciation for life, and realizing that, you know, life can just go away from you at any minute. And, you know, I still feel, you know, I still appreciate it, you know, and I feel like even if I live through this and beat it, that I'll always have that appreciation and love of life that I've never had before. And I think that's one thing that, if I gain anything from it, that's probably going to be one of the key things I'm going to gain from this experience. I also realized this time about how much strength I need from God and His guidance from Him, and guiding me through this and help me fight this. So I started really praying a lot, like more than I ever had in a while, because until this experience, my relationship with God was it was dying. You know, I wouldn't consider myself a Christian or not, but I really felt like, I know I don't know God's plans, but I felt like this you know, I know that God has everything happen for a reason, but I feel like this is supposed to make me closer to God. And so I embraced that, and I started praying to God, and started, developing a better relationship, closer relationship with Him. And that's one thing I'm continuing to do. And then I remembered reading about miracles in the Bible, and that maybe God's using me as a miracle, maybe, and, beating this, that, show that miracles, God's power is limitless, it's endless. You can do anything through Christ who strengthens you, like Philippians says. I was also blessed to have a few friends visit me in my house during this time to, help give me company and, give me people in my life to support me, so a few friends stopped by. And y'all's company really just, you don't understand how much it meant to me during that tough time. And so that was great, and I was so blessed to have that happen at that time. And then eventually I made it back. After I'd fully recovered, I made it back to the point where I went back to school to finish up my senior year. And I'll be honest, it was kind of weird being back on campus after not being there for like a whole month, dealing with this whole surgery and having a brain tumor and all. But I was happy to be back and seeing people, my classmates at UNC I hadn't seen in forever, and it was great catching up and just being back and on campus. I love it there. But I worked with my professors though, and worked hard, and I finished off my senior year, and I was able to graduate, and it was great. And I was blessed during that time to have professors in my my classes that were understanding, and we really worked with me. The only setback I had during that time when I was finishing up my senior year was I was in a review session for history for the final, and I had a seizure there, and it was very scary. Like, it was, my hand started twitching, my left hand started twitching, and all of a sudden I felt my left leg twitch, and I just couldn't control, and I fell, and I guess I went unconscious. And so last thing I remember is me waking up, and I was so confused. I felt like I just woke from a dream, and I was scared. I felt like I died, like I don't know. I was so worried, and they took me to the hospital, to the ER, and I was like, am I gonna be alright, because this has never happened to me before, and I had no idea what a seizure was and what it was like to experience one. So it's definitely a scary experience for me, but thankfully I had great people in the ambulance to comfort me, and the people there at the hospital in the ER at UNC Hospital were great. And it was around this time that my family started looking at different treatment options, and we visited with UNC for their treatment options, and we visited with Duke, and we just talked about what I had and how he'd treat it. And this was a really stressful time because every time they talked about what I had, it made me even more depressed, because they just kept saying, this is serious, this is, this is, they were saying, it made me scared, when they were talking about it, and, I'm I could die, and it was depressing when they were talking about it. But I get we had to do it to decide the treatments, but still, it was we were talking about, potentially life or death, and it was really depressing and scary. But eventually, after all that, we chose Duke because they're apparently number 10 in the nation, dealing with brain tumors, and plus they had this new polio vaccine that was starting to really be groundbreaking research and help people who had what I had be cured, and give them hope and have long lives. And believe me, as a UNC grad, it really felt weird choosing Duke over UNC. Because, you know, like my whole life I've been taught to hate Duke. But I mean, like with this, you know, this is what they're good at, so it's my life. So I was like, okay, let's go with Duke. And so Duke's plan was that I would do, you know, I get an MRI there and just make sure that the tumors, you know, they got most of it. And that I was fortunate they got most of it. So, but you know, there's still some stuff there that, you know, they could get rid of with therapy. And so the plan was that I would be doing chemo at the same time that I'd be doing radiation. So actually, I'm well into that right now. I think I'm in my 4th week, I think. But so the plan was, you know, I'd be doing that for I think like 40 something days or something like that, and then I'd be taking a break from that, and then I'd be just doing chemo. The chemo isn't like the type of chemo you'd think of where like you're staying in a room all day. It's more I would just take, you know, I'd take this pill, and you know, the radiation, you know, at first it really sucked because, you know, 'cause I wasn't used to it, but you know, I had to do that. I've been doing that every day, and at first it sucked because the mask thing they put on you really hurt, but you know, the people, the oncologists that worked with me kept helping me find more comfortable ways to put, you know, to put the mask on without being in super pain, but you know, while they could still zap the, you know, the cancer cells. Now, treatment's been going pretty well for the most part. Like, at first I had a few headaches and you know, headaches, and it was, I think it was from the radiations what it was, but that really bothered me. I get these headaches in the evening, but now, like last week, they started kind of going away, and so that was good that stops. And then I had nausea one time when I ate Five Guys. That's when I found out I cannot eat fried foods, which I have not since. I had to learn that the hard way, and it sucked. Those fries tasted a lot better coming in than they did coming out. But apart from that, the only struggle I've really dealt with in this treatment is my hair loss, which I knew was going to happen. But, you know, I basically started getting bald on my left side, and it looked really, not my left side, my right side. But it started looking really bad, and so it kind of started itching a bit. But I just said, you know, I'm going to get a hairstyle, which I have now, as you can see. I don't know if you like it, but I like it. And, you know, I was like, I want a mohawk, you know. I've always wanted a mohawk, so I felt like, you know, what better time, there's not a better time than now. So I decided, you know, what the heck, you know, got a mohawk. So have a blessed day. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.